There's a lot of excitement. Guys are fired up. In the end, young people still love to play the game. And so I think today that's a tremendous success for us. We had about, I think, 87 plays. So it really, a little bit less than what it'll be in a game because we huddled up on both sides. But I thought it was great. I really liked the excitement with the players, and they started to get into the game. So great day for us.
Everybody's always excited about quarterbacks. What did you see about from those guys today?
I think the same thing you guys saw. What I've been telling you has been going on for 3 weeks is they're all out there playing pretty good. And so it gave you guys a chance to see what I've been seeing and you've been asking me about, and I think that's what we saw today.
Could you talk a little specifically about what you saw from Maya today?
Well, he executed. He made some throws, ran the ball pretty good. Not to repeat myself, but I think what y'all saw today is what I've been telling you is what I've been seeing. And they're all playing pretty good.
Obviously, a young guy last year. There's specific areas of growth you've seen at him, not just today, but throughout the spring?
You talking about Maya?
Yeah.
Just the understanding of the offense and what we're trying to do. When I say that, I mean, it's very similar what we do now and what we used to do with Meach. The quarterback is a big part of what we do in this system, always has been. And his understanding of what to do and when to do it's important. And he's made strides.
Running backs had a pretty nice outing, specifically Rodney. Do you feel like he could make some strides this year? Really, kind of step up in that
with
back
Rodney?
field? Yeah.
Well, we got some good backs. I mean, Rodney has showed signs last year of really likes to play football. He's tough. Caleb's done well. Ceci's done well. Trent's done well. You guys asked me about that, and I told you that they're all performing pretty well, and I'm happy with the way that they've come along in the spring, and I think that's what you saw today.
You said you wanted to see 32 new guys out here perform. We got to see a guy named Sam Jackson get touches.
Mm-hmm.
Just his dynamic play. What impressed you today?
Yeah, very unusual athlete. Not a lot of guys have played and started at receiver and then started at quarterback in different schools and at this level of football. But I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Sam loves football and likes to play. He's very athletic. He can catch, he can throw it, he can run it, can make people miss. And he's a guy that is going to get a chance to play a lot at inside receiver. We got 2 or 3 guys that can compete there, in my opinion, and help us. And they got big shoes to fill. But he certainly is a guy that gives us a chance to have a little success there.
Mike, do you feel like this is some of the most speed you've had at the receiver position?
We're pretty fast at wide receiver, so that is an advantage for us. With the exception of the portal, we're inexperienced, but we're fast, and we've continued to bring guys in to try to help bring the young guys along. And Io wasn't out there today. He's banged up just a little bit. He should be back the middle of next week. He gives us a little more girth out there, a 225-pound receiver. But those guys are competing. They're playing well.
Did you see what you wanted to see on defense from your defense?
I'm pleased with what we saw on defense. The good thing about what happened out here today is what I've been telling you guys is what's happening, so you guys realize, hey, that's what he's been saying. They're playing good, sound defense, right? They're in the right gaps. They got out of the gap on Rodney's long run, and then the safety missed a tackle. They give up a big play. Other than that, they have done a good job this spring of not giving up big plays. And I feel like we're a better tackling team. We'll see, but I feel like at this time we're a better tackling team.
Is there a danger sometimes that because you split the squad up, offensive line strength, and what I'm getting to is floors, he appears to have had a really good spring, and today he's running for life.
Yeah. Well, when you split teams like this, the one area that's going to struggle is the offensive line, because now you've got guys out there that haven't played and competed, and they're not communicating with each other, because we just didn't take one group of guys. We split it down the middle, and that's the risk you take. In most cases, it's difficult to play a spring game because you don't have enough guys, and then when you split them up, it's hard to function. So every position's important, but defensive guys putting their hand on the ground and running to the quarterback's one thing. Offensive guys knowing who to block on all these different looks is another. So that area, you saw, 5-6 sacks today. That's going to happen in a spring game in most cases because these guys don't work together much and they haven't had much experience. But I will say this, it was worth playing the game because we were able to see some guys in pressure situations, and particularly quarterbacks and their ability to avoid the rush, because that's the real world.
It's hard to, with the quick whistles, sometimes it can be hard to evaluate. Like Hicks, I think scored 2 touchdowns. And they
You're
didn't
right,
get
yeah.
But how hard is that for you? Because you wanted to see him play, but you also, it was about 90%.
Well, and it's really probably 75 because they're not smacking each other. You know, the one play to Hicks, he made that guy miss, you know, and I told him, I said, hey, do that next fall and it won't end up this way. But I was really pleased with what took place today, because we go as fast as we can, as hard as we can, as physical as we can, but we also have to take into consideration getting somebody hurt. So it worked out good, but it's not 100% foolproof.
You're always in a position of being neutral, standing there watching. But you had both coordinators kind of just as observers. What do you think that did for them?
Well, one, it gives other guys experience calling plays. Okay, so in doing that, you pick 2 other guys that need to learn to call plays on both sides of the ball. And in my opinion, as an assistant coach, the only way to learn to ever become a coordinator is to act like you're a coordinator, preseason, postseason, and during the season. And it allowed us to give 2 other guys an opportunity to call plays.
You guys used Lofton in the slot primarily last year, and he was playing outside today. Just kind of whatever you like about him and his versatility.
He can play both. So he's a jack of all trades guys for us right now. He had the experience of doing it last year. And at Virginia Tech, he played outside some also. So we've used him in both spots. We've got 2 or 3 wideouts that are banged up a little bit, not there. So we just moved him around a little bit.
With so much new, how pleased are you with how far along you've gotten as a team just this spring?
I'm pleased with where we're at. The good news is we have another week of practice, so we'll have 3 more heavy practices where we'll compete against each other a lot like we did today. That's really where we find out kind of where we are, and then that'll give us a chance to lead into off season with the players and them running their own practices and such. The challenge now and the adjustments that have to be made are because we don't know what'll ultimately happen in the portal up through the next 8 days, and so I would think that we'll probably have maybe a few more guys go in. I'm guessing, I don't know, and then we might retrieve some more. So that's the adjustment you make over the next week, and then once that's complete, then you finalize your roster for May, and then you start moving forward for August preparation.
You got a group of linebackers you got the 3 transfers in that are all new guys. They each seem to pop up and make a play here and there.
Yeah, they're physical, they're mature, they can run, they like to play football, they've had excitement. The one thing that's been interesting is the adjustment that some of these guys have made, even mature players, with their bodies and being here with coach for just 3 months.
Did he?
Like Malik has, I think he's at like 282 now, and he was 250 when he got here. I mean, his body's completely changed just in 3 months. And so that's an advantage of some of the things that Coach Glass has done here, even with the veteran players that we brought in at the linebacker spot.
Did anyone surprise you?
Go ahead.
Did anyone surprise you today? Like, just jump out that?
You know, the guy that played pretty good today that looked really fast on the field was Tripp White. Like, he ran really, I think he looked fast to me today. Not that he wasn't fast, but I just noticed him running really fast. They threw a screen to somebody, and it looked like it's going to be a big play. Then all of a sudden he showed up for maybe a 1-yard gain and made the play. And then what was more impressive was, as fast as he was coming over and made the play, he was able to hold the guy up, and they didn't even go to the ground. Like, that's really hard to do, and it showed his athleticism and his strength.
You talked about needing to see some of the guys, maybe like walk-ons, guys that needed. I think they listened to you. There were a few of those guys that
They're out there playing and having fun and competing, and that's the advantage of having it on video. We'll get a chance to look at it and evaluate and be as fair as possible as we can to all the young men in this organization. And I'm hoping that as she continues to volley with the attorneys and what settlement that she wants, that she'll grandfather in some players. I don't know if she'll do that, but hopefully she will.
Mike, it was a miserable 24 hours leading to kickoff, but it seemed like the rain stopped. What do you say to the fans that braved the elements and came out and watched?
It was awesome, and I'm sure there's quite a few that are like, I'm not doing it, I'm not packing the kids, going up and sitting in 55-degree weather with it raining. But you really, for football, was awesome. Players, they loved it, and the fans that came out, when I walked out, I was a little surprised because it had been raining right up to like 20 minutes before, right? I mean, I was in here doing recruiting, but I looked out my window and it was pretty steady rain. So it's a good day, right? We had a chance to have a game. We played a game. We split the teams, split the coaches. I'm guessing if it would have been last weekend in the weather, we probably had 20, maybe 25,000 people. I don't blame them for not doing it because of circumstances, but I'm pleased with the people that showed up, and I think it was worth everything we did, and I think it was good for the team, and it was good to everybody for us to play this game today.
You going to get in the event planning business? I mean, it just seemed to pop in your mind Tuesday that you want to do this.
Well,
Pulled it off
I
pretty
didn't
quick.
know about health, right? So I didn't know how many linemen we'd have, and there's a lot of uncertainties that I didn't go into as much detail. But when we start spring ball, we have 32 new guys, and you're hoping that 25 of them will still be on your roster at the end of spring ball, because they don't understand the culture here. It's extremely difficult to be on our team and in our culture. We don't bend the rules very much. So I figured we'd be lucky to keep 25 of them. Well, our percentage has been very high, and then you don't know how many of them are going to be healthy so you can have an actual spring game. What I didn't want to do is say we were going to have a spring game and cancel it. So I wanted to play this way, and then I said, you know what, we're healthy, let's have a game. At this time next year, maybe we can do 2 weeks notice, give everybody a little more notice, maybe more fan activities. But in the big picture, if you had nice weather, then you're going to get a good turnout anyway.
Did the excitement that you saw, was that unexpected at all?
I've been doing that in practice every day. I mean, the guys, they like it, and it was funny. The orange team was when the white team was making defensive calls, the orange defense was trying to mess their calls up. So they're out there playing and having fun. They're just kids, and they like to play the game, and that's what I really wanted to see, and I was pleased with that.
With so many new guys, and you say you like all the things, the quarterbacks, the running backs, and everything, how hard is it going to be to whittle down who your starters are going to be in the fall?
Well, I mean, we won't be able to do that for a while. I mean, we're not in a position to do that. So I would think that going into August that you could certainly have a 2 deep, and then you're going to have to work through the first 8 or 10 practices to figure out who your guys are.
But is that nice to have that problem?
Well, there's people talk a lot. It's interesting when people talk about returning starters, and they have this many guys returning, and if you have a bunch of guys returning and you weren't very good last year, that's not always the best news. You know what I'm saying? They go, well, they got returning starters. Well, they weren't very good last year. I'm not saying that was us, but what I'm trying to say is that we have a greater number of guys making plays out there and running around than we had here in a while, and part of it's based on the portal and the ability to bring in a large number of players that aren't 17 and 18 years old. They're 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. Big difference. And so that's what you saw today.
Last couple.
What's your top goal for this last week of practice?
Well, we're going to go out, practice hard, do what we do, and continue to work on our systems. There's no more installation, so it becomes repetitive calls in all 3 phases. And so now guys are starting to kind of know where to go and what to do, and they should learn to start to play faster and continue to build what we have. I am surprised that we were able to get these guys to play together. I didn't think they'd even come all the way together throughout spring. But I was wrong. They've done a good job of it, and they've worked together. And so we want to finish up with 3 good practices next week. Then coaches go on the road recruiting. These guys got to get finals over with, and then we got to start preparing for June.
How has the new coaching staff kind of approached recruiting, and how they've kind of handled these first 4 or 5 months of
These guys
being on the
are
job?
drop dead aggressive, relentless, go at it. They go. They've been fantastic. So they just tell me what to do and who's coming in, and I meet with them and do whatever that I need to do. But these guys are going after it. They're not scared of anybody. They're ruthless. They're aggressive.
Is that a change in